Hi, Bennett.
Aloha, Chair. How are you?
Not bad.
So you read my text. So normally you would have like folks like Dion and Tui and all that. So and even Thomas Chalk. He likes attending this thing, but he's sick. So but be that as it may, Rosella's here. So we're proceeding because it's going to be recorded and yeah, people can still access it. And we still have an obligation. Hello, Rosella.
Hello, Bennett.
I
Happy
appreciate
Monday.
your loyalty.
Oh, I
Welcome.
appreciate you. Every day it's a different surprise, something new and exciting in my email from you.
Oh,
So thank you. We appreciate you.
thank you. And Access is on its way for tomorrow, right? You guys are meeting with them tomorrow.
Yes, very exciting.
Excellent.
I
Okay,
am heading to, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead. You are heading to?
I'm heading to Hilo on Saturday for the University of Hawaii's job fair. So
Hmm.
twice in 1 week is a bit much. So thank you for allowing me to do it via Zoom.
I did actually tell the Access folks, I said, in order for you to get the full experience, you should go to Kona and drive that.
Oh, yes.
So at least you know what the folks from Kona have to go through in order to go to Hilo and
Yep.
be part of the AJC.
That is wonderful advice. Thank you.
Because we don't want the Kona side to be feeling disenfranchised, right?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, Chair, we're recording, so go ahead.
Okay, we'll get things rolling. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Special Projects Committee. I would like to call the meeting to order at 1:32 p.m. My name is Keith DeMello, Chair of the committee. Our Vice Chair, Dion Dizon, isn't able to join us today. But again, thank you for everybody who is on. We'll have a robust conversation nonetheless. This is a public meeting under open meeting law, and the committee members and public guests are viewing via Zoom, and we have staff at the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations in office room 317 in case members and guests wish to meet at an on-site location. To start the meeting and to document in minutes, I will ask members and guests to introduce themselves with the name and organization. And let's start with Rosella. If you don't
Sorry
mind.
about that, Keith. Thank you. Rosella Gardashone, Director of Human Resources at the Marriott King Kamehameha's Kona Beach Resort and Chair for the County of Hawaii's Workforce Development Board.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Keith.
you're welcome. Bennett?
Bennett Misalucha, Executive Director of the Workforce Development Council.
And then we have two in the WDC 317.
Evan Palmer with WDC staff.
Kelly Kitevis, WDC staff.
Great, thank you. Already speeding along in the meeting. So to kick off our agenda, I'll begin with the chair's report. And as part of that, I'll provide an update on legislative items we've been tracking and share how our council's new protocols for legislative activities have been working in practice. And just as a reminder, myself and Tui Scanlon have been delegated with authority to represent the Workforce Development Council's legislative policy positions at the state legislature this session. So what I'll do is, in the order on the agenda, I'll go through the bills listed there that we are either tracking or have testified on. And so beginning first is GM 502, and this is the governor's message for the reappointment of our own WDC chair, Ken Louie. We did provide in-person testimony on that, and that did proceed without any, I believe, unanimous approval to move forward. The next GM, it's actually two paired together for the same individual, Jared Higashi, a new appointment to the WDC. He will represent, my understanding, the visitor industry on the council. And there are two GMs because one is for the current term that ends this fiscal year, and the second GM is through 2029. And that also we provided supportive testimony, and that moved forward. The next GM, which is for, yeah, actually these next three actually were heard just last week, for Scott Collins, another reappointment to the WDC. He brings labor representation, and also another GM 728 for Pani Mayatoga, a new appointment who brings labor and workforce representation. And there was actually a last minute GM, which I'll note for the minutes. That GM was 744 for the appointment of Amber Akana to the WDC. So all of these we provided supportive testimony and all moved forward with, I believe, no nays. So that's actually great. Just going by the agenda, we have HB 1205. That actually was deferred early in the session. So move on to the next one. SB 1503. That requires the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations to develop and implement training programs, public-private partnerships, and funding opportunities with regard to local workforce development to meet growing demand. We are basically monitoring this, but it does appear to be moving forward. HB 655, that did not progress early in session, so I'll move past that. However, its companion did, and that is SB 742. That's the one that establishes a data sharing and governance working group within the Office of Enterprise Technology Services, which also provided testimony and support. That is moving forward. We have provided supportive testimony written in each of the hearings, and we continue to support this as it does serve our four pillars within our the state's workforce plan. And then moving on, the next two we're monitoring, HB 213 and SB 299. We haven't weighed in, but just something of interest to us, and we'll continue to monitor, but it looks like they are moving forward. HB 1211, that one also didn't progress, but although we were monitoring it. HB 1233 was deferred. And that actually was not so much of a surprise because there was sort of lukewarm support from other state agencies. And then rounding out the list, the last two, both were monitoring. HB 1585, that has to do with, involves the P20 partnerships and establishing evidence-based performance metrics. We're monitoring that. We haven't been asked to support, but we are taking an interest. And then SB 1641, last on the list. That's another one we're monitoring, but we are likely to perhaps not weigh in with testimony, but perhaps provide a letter to conferees when we enter conference. There is somewhat of a concern that there might not be sufficient labor representation on the Hawaii Film Authority that the bill establishes and would be placed within, I believe, the Department of Business and Economic Development and Tourism. So with that, I know I went through that pretty quickly, but are there any questions or concerns? Annette?
I have questions. So that SB 1503, that's the one with requiring the Department of Labor to develop and implement training programs for the defense industry. It's moving forward, you said, right? But I know there's some appropriations that is involved. is the WDC being tapped for this? Because remember how the earlier reiteration of some other bills had specific to WDC would be the vehicle. So this one doesn't have that though, right?
It doesn't name the council. And I'm checking its latest draft, it does not.
Just like the others, for instance, that are, the intent is the same in a sense where it tries to appropriate funds to diversify defense-related industry. It actually specifically mentions WDC. So again, to clarify, this one does not. Where is the funding going to? DLIR.
DLIR, making sure it hasn't changed. But yeah, yes, correct. Department of Labor and Industrial Relations.
Okay.
And we're sort of dipping our toe in legislative matters this session. There's the potential for the WDC through this committee or another committee, and with the approval of the council, to be more proactive and even propose legislation as part of the governor's package or whatnot in next session.
Yeah, especially if we're going to be changing our bylaws, we may need to modify HRS 202 so that then it's consistent, the bylaws are consistent with the law. So that's another process. Did you feel that we have the right, I guess, mechanism or infrastructure in place so that even as maybe it may get more complicated, there's more bills that we need to monitor? How does that feel?
It feels like it's manageable and it's working. The intent wasn't for WDC, or at least not yet, to be, as active as a department might. But we are working within an allowable permitted interaction between two members. We're very transparent and seeking that authority and approval from the council. I think it works, but I think it could benefit from some proactive pre-session work. Specifically the council identifying and even generating language or legislative proposals. So we go into session, with, yeah.
So following up on the permitted interaction group, actually, this one is a permitted interaction. It's not a group, it's not a big, right? So we're not governed by the big rules in terms of the 3 meetings that you have to abide by.
Correct.
Okay. So, but we do expect or anticipate that we're going to have a time for you to report at the next board meeting, what the elements of, what you considered successful or needing to be modified. So far, do you think that there's room for improvement? Have you seen any aspect of it that we need to mitigate or risk or anything of that sort?
We could perhaps clearly define roles. There's myself and Tui, and maybe leveraging WDC staff as well in the monitoring of bills. We almost missed one, for example.
Yes.
Like one of the GMs, the one that wasn't listed on the agenda, was posted within
Monday,
days.
you said.
Yeah.
Right.
Much
really.
after the others. Yeah.
And the other thing too, Chair, is that there may be a point where that the mechanism needs to be incorporated into the bylaws again, so that then it's institutionalized and not, just a mere, I mean, if for instance there's changes, then it's hard to kind of keep up with what ought to be. So if we can reflect that and actually codify that into the bylaws, even better.
One thing we could consider is, as long as there's sort of a labor representation and a balance between the two members who are leading sort of the government affairs charge. Perhaps in the bylaws, it's stated that it's the chair of special projects committee and another committee that become those two that during session are the emergency response team that could work quickly. That could be one way to write it in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the staff and I will work with you to make those recommendations in time for the next board meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
And by then we'll know what bills did survive and perhaps even enacted. Because the next full council meeting was pushed back, correct?
Yeah, to June 19.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to our next agenda item 3, update on nominating process. So on the agenda, we have listed the proposed process for nominating a member of the Workforce Development Council to the governor. This process will be incorporated into the WDC bylaws. Let me share the pathway by which the elements of this process will be vetted. So first, a number of us, along with staff, will work with the Attorney General's office to finalize a draft. This draft will be vetted by the Special Projects Committee for review. Following that, the finalized bylaws will go to the Executive Committee and then to the full board for consideration and appropriate action, tentatively at the next board after that, or the next board meeting after that. So as you can see, this is an involved process. And so we're going to defer this item so that we can devote more time and resources into it. And so I thank anybody for your understanding if you were anticipating more information there.
I think it's a very appropriate move, Chair, if I may say so.
And so moving on to item 4 in the agenda, update on public awareness campaign. So we will now hear an update on the public awareness campaign funded through PY 2022 unexpended funds. This initiative is part of our broader efforts to increase the effectiveness and reach of our American Job Centers. And we have our own executive director, Bennett Misucha, to provide this report.
Thank you, Chair. It's a short report because, so just so you know, we did meet. The contract was awarded to Becker Communications, and we did meet last week. We went through the scope of work. We were able to identify the next steps. And so we are providing them with the materials that they need. At the end of the day, they are required to do 3 things. One is to conduct a preliminary survey to just get a baseline of understanding where we are in terms of the AJC, awareness of the AJC. Then the second is conducting a full-out PR campaign that involves different platforms. And then the third is a post campaign survey to do a pulse check whether there has been any bump in terms of awareness of AJC. So they are in the process of putting all their messaging together. That's not, we haven't seen any of that yet, but they do have a short fuse and they need to be able to launch all this very shortly because, as you know, the funds do expire on June 30th, albeit as long as the funds are obligated by June 30th, just like how you have, again, the analogy that I heard is you can enroll a student and we pay for that, but that student will be going to school all the way to December. That is still allowable use of funds. So we're hoping this committee, which has been very, the committee that has been really pushing forth with this agenda of trying to increase the awareness of AJCs, and upon which we were able to take that idea and translate it into this project. We're hoping that as the project continues, we will be providing more updates to this committee, Chair.
That's great, thank you. Any questions from other attendees? I actually have a question. So for Becker, is it specified what their term is? Start date, end date, or is it calendar
No,
year?
yeah. So as long as, they have enough time to be able to, so the campaign itself might end like in December. But then as far as start date, I think they need to first, come back to us with some ideas on what the framing is, and some storyboards or whatnot that would allow us a glimpse into what they're trying to achieve.
Okay.
Did you have anything in mind? Are you like particularly interested in a set time or time frame?
No, not really. I mean, some things are gonna take a little bit of time. They would probably have a better sense of, especially with surveys,
Mm-hmm.
how long they would take. But I think this is a great use of funds. I'm proud to say this sort of came out of this committee.
Yes, it did. Mm-hmm.
It's certainly a need to promote the AJCs and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I'm
And it's substantial amount of money that they have the resources to be able to accomplish the objective, the goal.
and certainly better than any funds going back to the feds, because that's not a
Sure,
good.
for sure, for sure.
All right, thank you, and thanks for your efforts on that. Next we have also Bennett. Don't go anywhere. We have your executive director's report.
Okay, and this is again, I think both of you have been to meetings where I've already talked about this, but again, in the interest of, transparency and making sure that we share with the public what we're doing. So for the second quarter, well, first of all, here's the items that I'll be covering: the unified plan implementation, the transition as an attached agency, and focus on the first and second quarter. So as you know, we had the December 9 Workforce Synergy Summit, and we were able to create 4 pillars. Those pillar teams have met for the first one and will be expected to meet for the second or third time. We were able to receive a technical assistance grant from the National Governors Association. In fact, we met with them today to talk about how to navigate and develop the North Star. So the implementation is right here. So at the end of the day, we're having a pulse check in July. July 9th has been chosen as the date for this Synergy Summit 2. Note, Rosella, because it's probably going to be in person here in Oahu. And hopefully by September, we will have the governor declaring September as Workforce Development Month, and we'll unveil that North Star. So I'm going to just go back to what each of the catalyst teams are supposed to accomplish. And so far, they've done 2 out of 6. So I think we're on a good path. And the focus for the second quarter, I'm just going to touch upon that, is we're trying to develop our website to make it more user friendly. We're trying to build operational capacity in terms of the different committees, and again, the operational transition between WDD and WDC, which we hope will be completed by the end of June. So this is our upcoming events. I hope you make it a point to come to our local economic forecast, which is April 28th. Did you receive that, Chair? it's a really good one that I think you'll get some value out of it. It features Dr. Seth Colby, and he's part of the what do you call that? Projections, the one that projects Council of Revenues. He's part of that. So, but he has a different way of looking at the economic impacts and the trends. And I think you'll enjoy his sometimes out of the box thinking. So, and of course, we have our July 9th Synergy Summit and the Future of Work Conference in September, which we're trying to set. And that's it. Any questions?
Actually, the April 28th event, was that an invite that came over?
Yes, April 28th. It was an email, not an Outlook invite, because we the way it works is you have to register in order to participate, and then so when you click on it, it will then populate your Outlook. Did you? We're gonna be sending another one today anyway. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I want to make
But
sure I don't
it's-
miss that.
Yes, it is a good one. Okay.
Yeah, thank
Anything
you.
else? It's gonna be a record time being for the committee to complete its work, but that's okay. We did our job.
For sure. I guess I'll continue at least for sunshine requirements. We did have time for public comment. So if there are any members of or attendees who would like to make any comments related to agenda items, please do so now. We have time for it for sure. If not, the next meeting is scheduled for July 7 at 1:30 p.m. via Zoom and in person in room 317 at the DLIR building. And again, thank you all for participating. There being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 1:57 p.m.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Bennett.
Thank you,
Aloha.
Rosella. Aloha.
Thank you.